We're live. Adam, do you want to welcome us all?
Welcome us all, everybody. Silver Lining Podcast. It's Adam and Uncle Rex. We have Ben and Alice with us today. We have some really fun announcements that we're going to make. We're going to take all your questions from wherever you are in the world. You don't have to tell us what the temperature is where you are, but you can if you want to. That's fine. Rex and I wore different shirts today, so we wouldn't be a distraction.
We don't have to talk politics or BYU Utah rivalry or
no, not at all. So
I want to
go ahead.
Expectations, Adam. Please ask your questions. We will not get to all the questions because we never have yet in a live. I just don't want to have that expectation out there, because then each person will be saying, am I the only one? Did they get to all the questions but me? No, we usually don't get to a lot of questions. We'll try. Our moderator, Missy, for whom we're very grateful, is doing a great job. She actually stars questions for us, and so we can pick them out easily, ones that we bring on the screen and address, but we don't even get to all those, and those are a small part of all the comments. So just a little expectation management there.
We are becoming a more professional podcasters.
Well, we didn't have anywhere to go but up. And so, yes, we are.
That's why I said we're on our way to becoming professional podcasters.
And remembering that, we're actually going to put the links to all the places that are important that we talk about here. The links will be on
YouTube,
on the YouTube version of this. So those of you listening, that doesn't do you any good unless you go home and get on YouTube. But we will have the links on YouTube when you see the podcast there, as long as I remember to put them on after the podcast, because I couldn't figure out how to do it beforehand. Still on the path to being professional podcasters. But
right.
That's not the biggest, most exciting. To me, the next two announcements are probably two of the biggest we've had and the most exciting. And those of you that are watching this visually notice that Ben and Alice are back with us, or Alice and Ben are back with us, because they are going to make these exciting announcements. Alice, we've been we've been excited in our podcast community because we feel like we're really getting a handle on what we're doing, why we're continuing our podcast beyond the original 10 that we did. And now this is episode number, this is alive. Our next podcast will be number 50. But Adam and I went for a while, as we openly confessed, hey, we're happy to continue podcasting. Y'all are saying you're getting stuff out that we don't quite know what it is. We're getting it figured out. And we feel that this community needs to be a platform for people to find resources for healing from trauma. And so, Alice, would you give us our first resource? We're in it a year. This is our year anniversary. It's taken us a year to figure it out. Alice is going to tell us our first resource, and then Ben's going to follow up with another one. We should have done sound check. Alice, I don't have you have sound on you.
Give us a big check 1 2, check 1 2. Oh.
Okay, Ben's working it out while Alice is panicking.
Well, okay. I will say this.
There.
A year has gone by with Rex and I doing this podcast, and it's definitely been a eye-opening experience for both of us with this podcast. So we're grateful to be part of it.
And while they're working that,
okay, check 1 2, check 1 2.
Yes,
you're here.
We got you.
Let me put a note in now, since we had that delay, because I put this on the. I brought up the comment. Kimberly B., your birthday is Monday, and she's turning 22. The question is, now you can speculate on this in the comments, how many years of experience does Kimberly B. have at being 22 years old? I'll give you a hint. It's more than 1 year of experience of being 22. So you can put that in the comments. Be nice. Now turn your attention over to Alice's announcement.
Can Alice sing happy birthday for us? Because she's got a great voice. I
Oh.
heard her sing in church before. Her voice is like an angel. Go ahead. Give her a quick happy birthday, Alice.
Happy birthday. That's probably the best you're gonna get.
All right.
That's to the fact that I do not have a singing voice at all. Okay, well,
Not musically talented. That's not our.
No, that is not our talent at all, especially mine. Well, I've been super excited since coming on the podcast and just recognizing this need, I guess, for people who are supporting those that are going through any type of trauma. There's just a lack of support for them. And I know I can speak from experience and my everything that I went through in supporting Ben. I didn't have anybody to talk to what I was going through and doing all that. So Ben and I kind of came up with this together and decided it would be a good idea for me to start a group. I'm going to call it Support for the Supporters, which I feel like is appropriate. I'm really excited. It's going to be just a place for us to gather together. I just want to provide this space for compassion and support, peer-to-peer help, share resources, facilitate growth. I'm excited to share my story a little bit more, but I'm also excited to hear your stories and hear just kind of what's going on with you, what you're struggling with, what you're finding successful, so we can help one another. So anyways, that's my big announcement. I'm going to do the first one, this coming week on Thursday. So July 18th at 5:30 Central Time. This will be on Patreon. So I do encourage you guys to go over and join Patreon. That's how you'll have access to these sessions. We will do them every other week. And it's just going to be an open forum. This isn't a place for me to just talk. It's a place for you to talk and share and us to really just collaborate together. So
Alice, will people have to raise their hand to get your attention to talk, or how are you just going to just say, point at people? Okay, you go, you go, you go.
Probably a little bit of both.
Good. We'll see how the first one goes.
Exactly. We'll see how open everybody is to talking. If they're not open, then I may have to start calling on people. No, we're gonna have fun, but we're gonna also just be there for one another. And I think it's great. And I'm sure a lot of people are asking, like, who is this for? And it's for anybody. Like, technically anybody can come join. I'm sure anybody can benefit from it. But it's going to be geared towards those that are supporting people going through trauma. So it could be a spouse, it could be a parent, it could be a child that you are having to be there and support them in their journey through what they're going through. And this is a space for you to get some support.
Love it.
You mentioned it's on Patreon, and that means they have to pay to get on there. Would you like me to address that? Would you like to address it?
No, this is your big announcement, Rex.
Well, I have a little part.
It's all in the description. It's in the description.
It's actually not all in the description. That's why we're talking about it here, but we'll put it in the description because that's a good idea, Adam. When you get on Patreon, there's to join the Silver Lining, to join our group, there's a $5 and $10 membership, and these services will be under the $10 membership. And we know some people are saying, oh, I can't afford the $10. Well, the foundation isn't rich yet, okay? But y'all have contributed to the foundation. So for the first time around, anyone that wants to get on and can't afford it or just wants to check it out without joining, although you have to join, for the $10 membership, simply send an email to rexandadam@gmail.com and say, hey, I'd like the foundation, or just say, hey, I want to get on the first time. I'll know what you mean, or we'll know what you mean. Okay. That means the foundation is going to pay your first month membership. If you decide to stay on after that at $10 a month, you're welcome to. If you decide not to, no harm, no foul. But we want you to have the chance to experience the group to make the determination. Now, having said that, we expect to go for this to go far beyond our current community. Because as Ben taught us, trauma is trauma. It doesn't have to be post-trauma from military service. And so since we know so many people experience trauma, that means there are more people that are supporting because a lot of trauma, a lot of us have trauma, and there's more than one person supports us. So as Alice said, this could be for anyone. So please open the doors. Other people that are supporting and you feel need a support system or could benefit just from plugging in, tell them about this. Let them go. The foundation will pay for their first month if you need that. Again, the foundation's not rich, but your contributions have been generous enough to allow us to do this. And so just send us that email, give us the name of who you want on there. And I'm not sure how the logistics will work yet, but if we have your email, we can go back and forth and make sure you get on for her. And right away, Alicia donates the $10 for someone. So right away, you can see what's going on in our community and how good our community is. So Alicia is basically sponsoring someone.
Good job.
To go
and,
on.
And I think it'll be beneficial for a lot of people to just sit in there and with Alice the first time and just listen and talk and go through that. And that way you get a water temperature, a temperature of what's going on in there, if it's good for you or not good for you. So this will be a good thing for everybody to do. Now, Ben has something that a lot of people have asked. We've had Ben on a few times about asking about, can Ben coach me? Can Ben, I would love to see Ben in a session. He's a therapist, he's a coach. And so there's a lot of people have been asking for Ben's help. So Ben actually is going to be on Patreon as well.
Ben, you want to tell us more?
Sure. Yeah, I am going to jump into Patreon in a couple different ways. And so right now I'm licensed to do therapy in both Utah and Texas. And so that Utah edition is recent. So if you are a resident or hanging out in either of those two states, I can do therapy with you, but my coaching services are not limited by state or country or anything like that. And so in that first 30 days, we haven't quite worked out exactly how this is going to happen, but in that first 30 days of your subscription, I'm going to offer a heavy discount for those services. If you're signed up through Patreon and you're an optimist, and you want to get with me in coaching or counseling, I'm going to discount those services to get people started and going if they're looking for that, if they're looking to connect with me.
Very good. And so that's the second big announcement. So these are the first two, and this is going to be memorable for us, but we hope the first two of hundreds of announcements. We want to build a platform so anyone can come. And this was our idea for starting Patreon. I know a lot of you just wanted more about the Lori trials, but we want people to be healed, to find healing when they need healing. And it's not just people associated with the trial. It's not just people associated with the military. We want anyone that feels they need help to have a safe place to come and connect. And Lori Baker asked a very valid question. If it doesn't work out, you get on, you pay your $10 or the foundation pays it, and it doesn't work out, can you discontinue your subscription? Yes, definitely. You aren't obligated to staying on for a year, etc. So we want you to be able to try it out again. Now, two different situations here. Alice is doing this more as a volunteer. This is Ben's business. So if you want to take advantage of that, of course, there's a cost of him he does this for a living, his profession. So when we're talking Patreon, money is involved. And I know some people don't want money to be involved. That's fine. You are still welcome in the community. You still have everything we're doing in the community. And a lot of these services that start out on Patreon are going to be available. Things that are recorded. Eventually, some of them will be available in the regular community. We're going to have more announcements on that, as a matter of fact, pretty soon. But we aren't doing anything different in our podcast community. But in the Patreon world, the services we're providing that may cost some money, there's going to be money involved. And we're happy to be transparent about that and talk about that. But what a tremendous resource that you're in effect screening Ben just by listening to his podcast here to see if you think it'll be a good fit. You don't always get that in the professional world. And to be able to plug into a group like this usually is a professional situation, does cost time and money. You're traveling somewhere to do it. The fact that you can do it online, you've heard Alice, you know how well she speaks. You probably have the same high opinion of her that we do and everyone else does. So we certainly appreciate her willingness to be involved in this. Another announcement, different than those two, so I have to differentiate, but in the description, I talked about all these announcements at first. We'll still have questions and answers, but another announcement for those of you that are on Patreon, this coming Wednesday, the day before Alice does her first Supporting the Supporters group, Wednesday the 17th at 5 o'clock Mountain Time, 4 Pacific, and apply it to wherever you are in the world. We have our Zoom community discussion for Patreon members, meaning Patreon members can come on, and it's in Zoom, so we can actually talk with each other, not just have you send us questions for us to possibly pick out of the group. You'll be right there, so you can yell at us or talk to us, and we look forward to that. Adam and I we've loved the chance we've had in meet and greets. We'll keep doing those whenever the situation allows, but this is Zoom opportunity for Patreon members, we're just really looking forward to just being able to talk about what you're interested in. It can have to do with the case. It can have to do with Adam's cow hugging fetish, whatever. And now we know that's expanding into horses, the equine world. So we can talk about whatever you'd like. So again, that's this coming Wednesday, the 17th of July, 6 o'clock Central Daylight Time, 5 Mountain, on Patreon for those of you that have signed up for Patreon. Good grief, Adam. There's a lot going on, isn't there?
There is. And we're excited about it because we focused ourselves to really turn this whole podcast into, since we've done so much healing and other people have done healing, that I think this has been our calling, and we really understand that, we're all in this together with healing. And so we're just going to give you different options to heal.
That's what it's about. Lee asks, is everything under Silver Linings Patreon? I think so, but now I have it linked, so I don't know. But we're going to put the link. You'll have the link on YouTube underneath this podcast when we sign off and get it on there. Okay. Sorry, don't have the answer to that. We're going to be working this out. Alice and I, and who knows who else, are going to be working out all the details for her group, and we're just glad to provide the platform for this, but we haven't done it, so we're going to be working through it. And you guys, a lot of you have been with us from the very beginnings when Adam and I were working through everything.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, a quick shout out to our good friend that is back in the lower 48 states, Sean, who runs a podcast studio. Y'all will remember it's where we started. We still use his services. We knew he is on a motorcycle trip to Alaska. I'll say that again, motorcycle trip to Alaska. I don't even like flying that far, but I know about this point, Lindsay's calling me a wimp for saying that because she's up there. But Sean just got back at midnight, so he'll be back helping us this next week. Shout out to Sean and our long-term friendship with him.
Yeah.
Now that you've had a couple seconds to think, Ben and Alice, is there anything you missed in the announcement? You're welcome to stay with us the whole time, of course, and people may have questions for you. So you can hang out here if you'd like. But while we're still in the announcement stage, is there anything you say, oh, dang, I should have said this?
I don't think so. In your announcement on the Wednesday, just kind of the setup there, and that it's not just questions that you answer or whatever. I just want to, I guess, people to know that the same setup will be for the group, where it's like a Zoom, people can talk, and it's a discussion. So I do want people to know that it's not just me up here talking. It is a group discussion. We will be talking to one another, supporting one another, helping one another, providing resources, all that kind of stuff. I'll be there to facilitate and lead.
Be awesome.
Very good. Another link you'll have on there. Alice and I just posted an announcement about this. It went up earlier today. It's just an 8-minute announcement. You'll see that on you'll soon see it on our Facebook group, but I'm just telling Kimberly about it now, so you haven't seen it on there before probably. But it just went up on YouTube, on the YouTube community post. It's a post on our YouTube channel. Okay. And it took me till a couple hours ago just to figure out how to get posted on there so we can keep it in the forefront instead of it getting buried under all of our podcast lives. So there is an announcement on there, and of course we'll put the links on there to get to it as soon as we get that all figured out. So more information to come on those links and on the community, and we'll work with Kimberly, and I'm sure she'll be good with us as she always is to help us get things on there. Well, we have a lot of questions backing up here, Adam, but first let me put Lori's second comment here and then her first. Lori Baker says, I work for a counselor. I saw the good that he did for so many people. Marriages, addictions of different kind, teenage issues. People, give it a try. It really will be worth it. And then before that, Lori said, I'd like to add that $10 a month for counseling. It's so dirt cheap.
Right.
So that's definitely true for the group. And then Ben's counseling will have a price. He'll talk with you all about that, but he's giving a discount to Patreon members. And Ben said Patreon members and optimists. And let me say, some people don't, especially if you're new, don't quite have the terminology we use here. We say an optimist is anyone that listens to our channel. You may not even like us, and we're still going to call you an optimist. You may only listen once. You may have only heard of our channel. We're still calling you an optimist. So that discount goes for anyone that's an optimist, meaning that's a part of our community. And if you've listened to us and you aren't saying really, really, really bad things about us, we're considering you an optimist. So,
even if you identify as a pessimist, if you're in the community, you're counted as an optimist. So it counts.
That's a good point.
It does count.
Your personal, how you identify personally should come into that. Getting on to serious business from Carrie Ann. Carrie Ann's not often serious, so this isn't. Adam, you should go celebrate by hugging a cow for your year anniversary, or a horse. I think.
Yeah, I might have jumped ship. Well, actually, I don't know if it's a running tie between a cow and a horse. They're both amazing animals. But after talking with Will last week, I am going to go to Prescott at some point and do try the horse therapy, because I love horses. But I just feel like cows, you could just hold them and just, feel, the release of, all your stress and stuff. So
And what
I'm
about
thinking
those
a
little
horse.
Highland cows?
What?
Those little Highland cows, like those you could just put on your lap.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking a horse probably smells better than a cow. I'm not sure about that, but
Okay. Yeah, it probably is debatable. Ben, we have a question for you from Kathy McDowell. Ben, didn't you say previously some correlation between your beard and therapy? It appears shorter of late. Anything there? Or perhaps I dreamt that. Tell us the whole story, Ben. It actually involves his athletic career.
Yeah, if you can call it a career, I guess. If you're dreaming about my beard, then we might have to talk in the counseling portion of this. That might be a totally different thing to discuss. But the beard, yes, it's related to my high school sports team that I coach that has a couple of my sons on it. It's a playoff beard. So I grow it starting at the beginning of the season, and I keep growing until we lose in the playoffs. So it's shorter because we lost in the playoffs. So that's the bad news. The good news is Alice doesn't have to deal with a 1 year long beard growth because we won. So if we won, it would just still be going.
Just keep going until the next year, until you lose.
Yeah,
I like that.
Okay, and Adam, we're ready for the next announcement, which comes from you, and Jillian Raby gives us a lead into it. How is Adam's life coaching going?
Good. I was mentioning that this, like today, you can get 50% off. Now, what's funny about, because people know I'm a pro pickleball player and I coach pickleball. So when I announced my new coaching business, a lot of people thought it was pickleball, because it's called Accountable, where I actually hold you accountable for whatever goals we set for each other. But has nothing to do with pickleball. I had a life coach for 20 years, and he really helped me with setting up my life mentally, physically, and spiritually, breaking down my day, the 8 hours that I have to myself. What am I doing with it? And so with that formula, I started doing this coaching for people. And like one of my star, I hopefully Cami doesn't mind me mentioning her, but one of my star clients, she told me her number. So when I sit down with you in a Zoom, it's like an hour and a half Zoom. We talk about what do we want to do for your life? What goals do you want to actually achieve right now? What are the top 3 goals that are important? And then we start with number 1 and we work our way through down. And she said, I just want to lose 20 pounds. I said, that's it? That's simple. And she's like, that's my number 1 goal. I want to lose 20 pounds. Well, she's been doing it for 3 weeks and she's down 6 pounds. And she's been doing every single day. We text back and forth probably 7 or 8 times a day. And I give her things to eat, things to work out with, mentally, physically, spiritually, things to do to enhance her progression. And so I'm super excited about where she's going. And when she hits her 20 pounds, she may want to do another 20 or a different goal or whatever it is. But so I feel like I can help people achieve goals. I've done it my whole life. I got my friend Eric, who's given me some really good knowledge to put that in effect. So if you're interested, or if anybody's interested in joining, it's an hour and a half of Zoom with just me. I pick your brain. We talk about what you're going to do. And then every morning I send you something, a text, and you send me text back about what you accomplished, what you did. And there's some really good thought-provoking videos that I send you as well. So that's something. It's 50% off right now, but I do want to make this a full-time job for me. Way before me and Rex even did this podcast, me and my friend Eric were starting to work on getting this done. It's just taken, as Rex knows, I've been telling Rex about this for a long time. It's taken literally a year to get to this point because of pickleball and all the other things that have been going on in my life. But my focus is on that. So right now, it should be in the comment or in the description, where you can get a code to get 50% off. And I'd love to have you as a client for Accountable. I think it'd be great.
While we're still talking about you, Adam, Lindsay's volunteering. She's going to horse therapy on Monday. She'll pick you up at the airport. So hurry and get your ticket to Alaska.
Great.
And let's go. Here's a serious question from Carrie Ann while we have Ben on here.
All right.
How do you stop or help with traumatic trauma replaying like a movie in your head of the day that you found your mom that passed away a day before? It's been 9 years. It still plays over and over. Not that everyone would have this exact same situation, but the trauma behind it, people might have the same effects of their trauma. Ben, do you want to approach that one?
Yeah, and there's a very technical term for this I call trauma brain. I made that up myself, so it's not actually a clinical term. But trauma brain will use unprocessed information and put it into a cycle. Your brain is trying to work out the difference between protecting you from that information because it thinks it may overwhelm you, and processing it so that you can put it away into short-term memory and then long-term memory. And so what has to happen is that information has to be deemed safe in order for your brain to allow you to go through the process of putting it in categories, defining it, understanding the feelings behind it, and allowing it to go into that filing cabinet that everything else goes into so that you don't constantly trip over it. So what you're experiencing now is a protective instinct that's fighting between processing the information and keeping you from processing it, because our brains don't want us to die or be overwhelmed by anything. That's kind of part of their job. And so they go to this survival mechanism, and you're getting stuck in that survival mechanism because your brain's telling you, I need to go through this, understand it, and put it away. And your brain is saying, no, it's going to hurt you. I don't want you to do that. And because you're stuck there, that's why you're reliving it all the time. That's terrible. It's torture. And it can be very tiring because you're continuing to do that work all the time and continuing to relive that all the time. EMDR is what helps you process protected information. So I highly suggest going through that process. If you're not doing that process, there's something called internal family systems, where you have a protector. You have like a secretary that helps you organize things. You have a protector that helps keep you safe. You have like a firefighter that comes in and puts out the fires, and all of those things exist in your mind for you to help you and to work through this kind of stuff. And so working internally with yourself, saying it's safe for me to look at this information. I need to really dig into this and say, how did I feel when this happened? What's the knowledge and understanding that I have now about it that will help me process it and put it away? And usually you do that with a professional or a guide, somebody to help you do that. It's not always this easy thing, obviously, like you've experienced, that you can just get through on your own. Even if you're really intelligent and understanding and you are in touch with your emotions, this is a difficult thing to do because your brain's trying to protect you.
Cool.
And can I add to that? That is why I went to therapy. And again, I'm not saying this to say therapy is for everyone. You have to go get a therapist right away. But that's what helped me. What tripped me up about the kids' death, well, I say the kids, Tylee and JJ, was just that. It was so overwhelming when I found the details, and I was sitting in court when I found the details. I needed to process that, and the struggle was going on that Ben just described. And so that's why I went to therapy, because that helped me. It was okay. In fact, that's why I was there, to process that so I could put it away. Not that doesn't come up, I don't remember it, but doesn't cause the same, it doesn't stop me from doing things like it did initially.
Yeah, there's no emotional flood that comes with the information.
Yeah. And I was just using anger, just rage, to mask that because I didn't want to deal with it. And that helped me get through the court situation. It has helped me get through a lot of interviews about it, but I needed to process it. And so that's just a real example of what Ben's talking about. And I'm glad I went through that because it helps.
Yeah. When the emotion gets stirred up, you get this wave. I think of it like sitting at the beach and you turn your back to the ocean and then you turn back around and there's this huge wave coming at you. When that wave of emotion comes through, your pragmatic mind, your analytical brain, your critical thinking, it all just gets washed over by the emotion. And so being able to separate the two makes you have the ability to use that information as information instead of as emotionally tied response. And there's a huge difference. And
Ben, what does it mean when I go to the beach and me and my friends play football and I dive into one of the waves to catch the ball and the wave just tears me up or tears him up? Is there something wrong with us, or is that normal behavior?
Yeah, that's unprocessed football reception. You didn't make the reception, so the wave.
I hang on to the ball every time the wave just crushes me, and I hold the ball up to show them that I count it.
Mhm.
And part of that is old age. I think that you need to play football at the beach because it's a softer land.
Nobody does that anymore. I just want to make sure.
Okay, and there's some great comments going on here in here about this, and it brings me to another point I want to make of something that will come soon. So almost like another announcement, talking about this. See if I can keep these thoughts together. Listening to Ben there, a lot of you, if you hadn't heard him or if you have, you were probably reminded saying, dang, he explains things so clearly. I want to, maybe use the services, maybe not, but I at least want to go back and hear his story. I just heard Alice. Now that I know I had the chance to do a group discussion with Alice, I want to find out more about her. How do I go back and find these podcasts that they were on? I am now ready, and this is news for both Andy and for Darlene because they've volunteered in the past. I'm going to send you an email after this live and ask if you can meet with me. I asked for volunteers once before. Now we're ready to do it. I need a couple people to do what they might be able to do for me if they can. We'll talk about it, but to catalog our podcasts. And so anyone can go, we have a platform for it. Anyone can go through the catalog and see what the podcasts are about and go back and easily find, here are the episodes with Ben and Alice. Here's the one with just Ben talking counseling. Here's the one where Adam did therapy on the podcast with Dr. Denham here. And you can easily find things because you have a catalog. And so we're going to get that started. So that's coming soon. So we have right there represented the 3 levels of resources we want to have for everybody. This catalog will be available for everyone. There's no fee. You don't have to join Patreon for this. You can find easy access not only to podcasts and lives, but also to the resources that are available. Ben's the first professional resource we'll have on there. Alice is the first peer-to-peer resource we'll have on there. And so you'll be able to go through a catalog, get a description of the people that are available, and it'll give you more and how to contact them. And so we're looking forward to providing those resources. Let's get to some more of these questions here. Carrie Ann says, thank you, Ben and Rex. I thought I could handle this myself, but I realized I only hurt myself to think I could. I've lost myself. I'm trying to find myself again. I was right there with you, Carrie, and that's why I shared my experience. I thought, well, I can do that myself. I took psychology classes in college. I don't know what I was thinking, but some of us tend to discard the need for more help than we really need. So I'm glad that had a good. Let's see. Okay. Tori Meyer says, Ben, maybe you should try pickleball with Adam.
I think that should be our next podcast.
Ooh, Ben and Adam pickleball.
Wait, what happened with Ben playing pickleball with me? When did this come to be a thing?
Right now, Tori Myers.
Just right now?
Yeah, Tori Myers just brought it up. It's now a thing, and then right after that, you can play lacrosse together.
Okay, I know how Ben and I can play pickleball one-on-one, but how would him and I play lacrosse? Like, I've never played it before, but I feel like since I'm an athlete, I can play anything. I'm, in my head, but I'm not sure you can play one-on-one lacrosse, can you?
Oh yeah, you definitely can. We'll have to do both because Tori, I used to play basketball against Adam and he used to kick my butt. And I'm sure that pickleball would be the same outcome because I'm not a pickleball player. I've never played pickleball. So we'd have to play pickleball and then lacrosse so I could feel like I even it out a little.
So you can just dominate. All right. We love family challenges, as you can tell.
We have family championship in any meaningful sport or card game.
Sport or game, it doesn't matter.
We'll get into it. It'll be fun.
Okay, now that you're talking trash, Lindsay gets into it and says Adam needs help with air hockey.
Okay, I had one bad episode with air hockey.
Oh, well, you share with Ben then.
Well, Lindsay's not telling you about the basketball or the axe throwing, but we'll just keep it at air hockey if that's where you want to feel good about yourself, Lindsay.
Yeah, but with feeling like you could do any sport, you think air hockey.
You would think that air hockey would be. I don't know. I can't explain that night. It was weird.
Now we have a witness to that saying, Kimberly Bell said 2 bad episodes. You lost to her also.
Right. Both of them. Hey, I lost to both of them back to back.
Funny how you didn't bring that up till she called you out on it. I wonder what's up with that. But then again, you beat me that same night, so it's not
that's
like
right.
I can trash about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Lindsay's getting up here. I didn't even post that up. She just has magical powers, and she's getting.
Exactly. Well, we can go bowling too if you want to start throwing it. We want to do a whole Olympics of games at main event. We can do that as well.
Okay. Very good. Well, I feel really good about all these announcements. I feel good. We've been talking with y'all about where we want this community to go. We want to people to have a safe place to come and connect and find that not everyone feels they need healing at this point. More power to you, but you contribute. And I've said many times, I really believe this. Everyone is contributing here. Those of you who do not talk, just about every live, we have someone say, hey, I'm one of those that doesn't talk. In fact, I had a fun meeting at the airport. I went to pick up Lisa the week before last, and Lisa comes out to the car, sits there. I go in to get her bag, and I went in there, and a lady next to me, I glanced over, and I thought, I wonder, she's kind of, smiling at me, and Lisa knows so many people, and so a lot of people recognize me because I'm Lisa's husband, and I don't know them. I looked back at her. She said, Uncle Rex, I listened to the podcast. I said, oh, great. And I sat down and talked to her, got to talk to her about the podcast. It's someone that I know. And
Lisa's in the car going like this. Hello, just got back.
Yeah. So that was so enjoyable. But the point of me telling that is that she said, I'm one of those that never comments. She lives right here in St. George.
Yeah.
All of those of you that listen and never comment, you are still an important part of this. We know you're listening because we see the numbers at least, and we can go in and see what city, as a group people are from. We don't know individually where people are. You are part of the group too. The fact that you're listening consistently or whenever you can from time to time, that's supportive. That's part of this community. That's a community of healing. So thank you very, very much. We may want to end our live a little bit early because it looks like Donald Trump was shot at a campaign event in Pennsylvania. And so a lot of people may want to go get the details of that. That's
Wow.
rather sobering world news. Adam and I had blue and red shirts last time, and we were kidding about politics because we don't talk politics on this, but that's not a political event. That's a tragic world event, regardless of what your politics are. That's just politics taken too far, and that happens in our life very, very
Yeah.
unfortunately. Okay, back to something a little more happy than that, a little more positive. Alicia, and this is well worth the notoriety. Alicia said, my silver lining for this week is that I've lost 91.2 pounds.
What?
Good.
Wow, that is impressive.
That is so
That takes
impressive.
a lot of hard work.
That's discipline. That's struggling. That's discipline. It's a lot of things when you think about losing that much weight. That's
Well, it
amazing.
could be that she dumped her really scrawny boyfriend. It might be that. I don't know Alicia, so I don't know the details, but that's impressive no matter how
No
you
doubt.
it's impressive.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Updates now that I mentioned the shooting. Stacy McCall updates us. Rita, he's okay. The bullet got him in the ear. Wow.
What?
Talk about a close call.
Oh
Got
my
him in the ear.
God.
That's about as close a call as you can get. That's a little bit closer than Brandon. Brandon, of course, Melanie Pulowski's ex-husband, who got shot at presumably by Alex.
I think like an inch he said it missed his
by an
head.
inch or two.
Yeah.
That's just dramatic.
Yeah.
But so he's okay, relatively speaking. That's a tough.
Physically okay.
Yeah, physically okay. That's a good way to say it. Here we are talking about trauma. That trauma, I don't care who you are, that's got to be traumatic. I mean, yeah, shot at a rally, but he's okay. Wow, that's sobering. Okay. And reading through here, there are a lot of people, and I love this about our community. If you read through the comments, there are a lot of people that are sharing what's going on with them, trauma that they have. Sometimes it's a family member, sometimes it's themselves, their health, a preferred pet, a dog. There's just a lot going on in all of our lives. And so I love on the Facebook group how Kimberly puts up every week, okay, it's Saturday, what's your silver lining? I don't get to the Facebook group a lot, but when I do, I always look for the Saturday recaps on silver linings. I love that people would share those and get the input from other people about it. We're already getting input. Congratulations on the 91 pounds. You're an inspiration. I love
that's
the
amazing.
community and everything y'all share.
And speaking of that, there was a post that I put up a while ago. It's like, if you want to come on the podcast and you think it would be part of your healing and your journey to talk about your story, just because so many people have talked about their stories and it's really helped them, it's helped us, it's helped everybody, and there were several people. So we're actually going to continue to do that. Hear from, like we heard Will's story, Ben brought him on, and just different optimists that have had some things that in their lives that may help other people when you hear their story and how they heal. And then, Jane sent us somebody that, has a whole different way of healing than I've ever heard of, just like the horse healing thing. So I love to promote, we're all here to heal from something that's happened in our life, different avenues to use for healing. And that's where our podcast is going. So we're going to continue that.
So, Adam, let me suggest some, because people wonder, well, I wonder if they're looking for what I have or for my story. Let me propose a simple formula, and you weigh in on it, Adam. If you're willing to talk about trauma that you've had in your life to whatever degree of detail you choose, we don't need the nitty gritty if you don't want to get the nitty gritty, but talk about the trauma you've had, how you found hope, and how you are finding healing, whether you feel you're healed. I don't know if anyone feels they're completely healed. I don't know if healing is a destination rather than just a lifelong journey.
Yeah.
But trauma, hope, and healing. That's all. That's what we need to hear. Okay, not a philosophy of life, but just trauma, hope, and healing. That's what the community is about. That's what the podcast is about. Okay, even when we get more trial coverage, it's still about trauma, hope, and healing.
And the other thing that I've realized over the last, year that we've been doing this podcast is, with our situation, loved ones killing loved ones, a lot of people look at us and be like, I can't believe that you guys are, can go through all this. But then when you hear other people's stories, it kind of gives me a lot more hope. When I hear other people's stories, like I would not be able to do what they're doing. And so when you hear somebody else's story, then you think your story is bad. You hear somebody else's that something, maybe it's not as bad, but you personally couldn't deal with what they're dealing with, and listening to them deal with is inspirational. That's been my experience with the podcast and hearing other people's experiences.
Yeah. And even if it's not something that you can relate to, say, well, I couldn't handle that. I look at Ben and Alice's story, and to me, that is miraculous. I thought, how do you navigate? Because there is no navigation, there's no map. How do you navigate that situation? Ben's gone for 17 years, plus or minus a few weeks, home.
Right.
And Alice is there with the three boys, raising the three boys. But she has a husband. He's just, out doing other things. And just being able to navigate something that does not have a map to it is inspirational. We'd love to hear those stories, even though there's a lot of trauma involved in that. We don't like hearing that it was traumatic, but we like that they've navigated it, and now they're making the best of it and helping other people because of it.
I think it's a pretty common theme in what I see professionally and what you guys are talking about, and that a lot of us feel like we're alone in what we're struggling through. And that nobody could possibly understand the gravity of the things that are pulling us down and holding us back. And there's so much healing in telling your story, because someone else has the opportunity to say, oh, I feel that, or I felt that. I thought I was the only one. I thought no one would know what I felt like. I thought I was the only one traveling through this. And when you can connect with somebody on that level, it changes your perspective, like you guys are talking about. I can't believe they overcame that. The thing that I'm dealing with is different. So even if the details are different, that connection is very healing and very powerful. And you just can't know who you're going to affect by talking about these things. But we do know that there's positive outcome and positive ripple effect in people sharing their victories, because it gives you hope. It gives you an idea that you could possibly do the same, or that you can travel through the thing that's holding you back because someone else has done it. So I just encourage you guys to take Rex up on that and share your story if you feel comfortable doing it. There's no telling who it's going to help or how much it's going to help.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I echo that. Well, I believe we can bring it to a close on that. Let's go through the announcements we made at the beginning, in case someone joined us halfway through and maybe they missed the announcements. To me, the big announcement, I'm going to go number one and number two, and then Adam, you bring up the medal round with number three. Alice, yes. Tell us once again. Ben, you repeat yours. Adam, you tell us once again about Accountable.
Sure.
Yeah, well, I think we've touched on so many things throughout today that just describes exactly the need and kind of what's going on as far as this group that I'm starting, support for the supporters. I do feel really strongly that there's just not support out there for people who are supporting people going through trauma. And so I'm really excited to help facilitate that. We've touched on just kind of like how we all share or need different things. So when you come into this group, you may just want to sit and listen. That might be helpful. You may want to comment. You may want to share your story. You may want to chime in because you hear somebody else tell a story that impacts you. You may want to share a resource. However you want to join in on this group, I want you there. So please come. It's for anybody. But it will be geared towards those that are supporting somebody that is experiencing trauma. It could be anybody in your life that is experiencing trauma, a child, a spouse, a sibling, aunt, uncle, parent, and anybody, a friend. Anyways, the first one is going to be Thursday, July 18th, 5:30 Central Time on Patreon. And like Rex announced earlier, the foundation is willing to cover that first month if you're unsure or if you don't have the funds. So please reach out to them if that is something that would be helpful to you.
Thank you. Ben?
Yeah, I am providing therapy for people who live in Texas and in Utah. They're remote services, so it's telehealth. But anybody who lives in those two states, and then I'm counseling for anybody. It doesn't matter where you live. You can access my coaching services. So I'll be coaching for people who are outside of those states and offering a discount through Patreon if you're a Patreon subscriber to any of those services that you're interested in.
And Ben, you're a little hesitant on announcing the reciprocal agreement that you're waiting on. Do you want to wait till that goes through to talk about that?
Well, in the future, there's a counseling compact that allows me to use my license for therapy across the majority of the U.S. I think right now the compact is up to over 30 states, but we're just waiting on politicians to put up the paperwork necessary for counselors to access that. So there are a bunch of states that are involved in the compact. So that'll open up my therapeutic services across the United States quite a bit, but we've just kept pushing that back. And so I keep waiting for it to happen. And I feel like a little bit of a broken record saying it'll happen sometime this year. It'll happen sometime this year. So that's why I haven't mentioned it as much.
I understand that, but I wanted to give some people hope that, you can do therapy as well as coaching. And then sometime we'll have you on and talk about the difference between the two. Adam, go ahead and remind us of your announcement.
Well, obviously, I am not mentally there to help people with therapy or since I've never been to a therapist. So my accountable has to help you with life in general. Your goals, if you want to, do a different job, if you want to become somebody that you've always wanted to be, if you want to lose weight or whatever your goals are. Accountable is me having a meeting with you. You tell me your goals, and then every day we text back and forth and make sure you get all the things that you say you're going to do done. Because a lot of times in life, we say we want to do this, and then if it's just up to us, we skip it some days instead of having somebody there holding you accountable. And that's what accountable is on a level. And so right now, it's 50% off if you want to try it for a month to see if it works for you. I told you Cammie is my star student right now, client. She's on her way, and we text 10 times a day, making sure that we're on the same page. So, and if you want, I think everything is in the description for accountable, the code to get 50% off, and where to actually go to sign up for accountable. And I'd like to be your support. I could be your goal support.
Very good. Thank you. Kathy McDowell, thanks. That's a good closing comment here. It is a great podcast community. Again, not everyone can see the comments, so I'll read it. Kathy McDowell, this podcast is great. Hearing from others. Your guests are genuine and relatable. It's helpful to others. Thanks. And one more comment. I love Ben and Alice. They're amazing. I'm still coming over for dinner. So
yay, come over.
We want that. We all want to be part of that Sunday dinner, just to be a fly on the wall.
Yeah, I just want to hear the swearing from the.
Did we ever? I'm not sure if we ever told you guys what we have every Sunday for dinner. So you might want to know that.
Yeah.
What?
You're going to accept the invitation. So every single Sunday we have bagel sandwiches and hot chocolate.
Dang, that's amazing. I
This
love both of
started
those things.
back in Hood River. I don't know. It's been a good 8 years now or something. I started it when he was gone, and the boys caught on and loved it. And one Sunday I didn't do it, and they're like, "Mom, bagel sandwiches and hot chocolate. What happened?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize that
This
was
is
a
a thing.
thing, you know?" Yeah. So it became a thing.
So if you're coming to dinner, that's what you're getting.
Yeah, that's what you're getting.
All right. Love it.
Sounds good. Okay. And on that, we'll post all the links, as we said. The best our technology knows how. Well, Kimberly's already working on what we mentioned she'd do on the Facebook group. Darlene and Andy expect an email from me here pretty soon, and we will see y'all very soon. Hopefully, those of you on Patreon will see you Wednesday night in our we'll talk with you. That's exciting for us.
And see you on Zoom.
Yeah. And that'll be Wednesday night at 5 Mountain Time, I believe. All right.
Okay.
Thanks. Take care.